As part of our continuing series on the homelessness crisis in Barrie, following the brutal killing of two residents at the Flat Rock encampment near Victoria Street, we reached out to the Barrie City Council, including Mayor Alex Nuttall. Only two councillors responded. Ward 2 councillor Craig Nixon offered written answers, while Ward 1 councillor Clare Riepma agreed to speak with us on record. In our conversation, Councillor Riepma spoke about the city's limited role in social services.
Yeah, the city does not do that, provide any kind of services to those kind of encampments. I don't know that we would provide any kind of facilities, simply because that just encourages an activity that we really feel is not appropriate.
The environmental contamination at the encampment site, lack of shelter capacity, the need for urgent investments in rent geared to income housing, and his concerns about the long term impacts of homelessness across Barrie.
Probably the best help we can give them is a roof over their head. So yeah, we always talk to the County of Simcoe to expand their services. And they have over the last couple of years. I mean, the province, to their credit, has really stepped up and put some serious money into some of these programs. So I think the County of Simcoe is doing a better job now than they did a few years ago. But yeah, we still have a long way to go, as you can see.
He emphasized that while the city supports cleanup efforts, housing is a county and provincial responsibility. Following is our interview with Ward 1 Councillor Clare Riepma. Yeah, so thank you so much, Councillor Riepma, for joining me today. I hope you're doing okay. The weather is nice outside today.
Yes, I have work to do outside yet. Yeah.
We all know the Flat Rock, Victoria Street encampments. There was a tragedy at the encampment. Two people were murdered, and as a result, the entire area is under lockdown. So just your initial thoughts about what happened there and what is the situation right now.
Well, I can't tell you very much about what happened there. I mean, it is, as you suggested, it appears that there was a murder there and dismemberment. But if the police haven't released very much. So, but suffice it to say, I mean, it's a pretty terrible experience there. And certainly, for the people involved and for the people that are living there, it's certainly pretty tragic for sure.
So, how would you describe city's response so far to the event that happened?
Yeah, it's interesting. The city doesn't have any responsibility in terms of social services. That all belongs to the County of Simcoe. So the city, while we tend to get most of the commentary and most of the complaints and we experience the issues, our role in this is relatively limited, because it's first of all, it was a police investigation, and then from the moving people out and finding appropriate places for them, that's all to do with the County of Simcoe. So the city does play a supporting role in all of that, but we certainly aren't the lead.
And so, when it comes to, for example, the city is responsible, if not for the social services, but cleanliness of the park, and providing environmental assessment of various water bodies and areas. So any response, like what has been done in that regard in that area?
Yeah, well, what happened was that the Ministry of Environment got involved, and they issued an order to clean up the site, and that order was issued to the city. And I mean, I haven't been on the site, but my understanding is it's a it's a big mess, and quite contaminated with all kinds of things. And of course, when a property like that is contaminated, some of that contamination will end up going down the creek and eventually into Kempenfelt Bay. So it affects the larger city for sure. And so the ministry has ordered the city to clean it up. And we have started to do that, hiring contractors and but the difficulty is, of course, that there's a lot of toxic material in there. So we have to be careful of the contractors and the work people that are working in there. So it'll be quite a while, I think, before the site is cleaned up. We don't have any timetable on it yet, and we don't have any cost yet, but it's expected to be in the millions.
So just when the Ministry of Environment got involved, but like how did they just don't decide, right? Because there are so many cities and towns across Ontario, they just don't decide to get involved. There must be a reason for them to get involved. So what's city aware about this issue, the environment, the encampment? Because in the executive committee meeting, it was acknowledged that city was aware about the encampment. And so, do you know what steps were taken at that time regarding the encampments, providing cleanliness, etc.?
No, of course, the city has known about the encampment for a considerable amount of time. And, given the court circumstances, we can't just go in and throw people out. The county has to have places for people to stay. And so this encampment has been there for a considerable period of time. It was only when the police got involved there that it really raised the profile, and that's when the city and the county and the Ministry of Environment all got involved. Murder is a serious matter, right? And we have to deal with that.
Yeah. No, just because I understand, it's but in terms of the cleaning the park, it's city's responsibility. So are you aware about city was, I know they can't go in and clear the encampment because Superior Court's ruling, but in terms of going in there, cleaning and providing portable toilets or trash pickup, are you aware if any of those things were done by city at the encampment?
Yeah, the city does not do that, provide any kind of services to those kind of encampments. I know that there are agencies that do that, but if there was something to be done, then it would be a matter for the County of Simcoe to do it. I don't know that we would provide any kind of facilities, simply because that just encourages an activity that we really feel is not appropriate.
So, but then in terms of, there was an acknowledgement during the executive committee meeting that they couldn't go in because, there were not enough, shelter space from the County of Simcoe, because that comes under their jurisdiction. But were there any discussion that you were aware that happening with the county that there is this encampment, how we can provide the provide shelter or other hotel or other services to this encampment, so we can clear that in by doing so?
Yeah, not specifically with respect to this encampment, but generally speaking, yes, we're always encouraging the county to, increase their bed space and their motel programs, because fundamentally the city really, we don't want anybody living outside. It's just an undignified way to live. And people should have some dignity. And secondly, if they're going to get help, probably the best help we can give them is a roof over their head. So yeah, we always talk to the County of Simcoe to expand their services. And they have over the last couple of years. I mean, the province, to their credit, has really stepped up and put some serious money into some of these programs. So I think the County of Simcoe is doing a better job now than they did a few years ago. But yeah, we still have a long way to go, as you can see.
And just even the city of Barrie also has environmental services. They also go out. They have a responsibility to respond to any environmental disaster. For example, if certain um, advisory when it comes to the beaches. So were there any discussion that there was this encampment? City was aware about the encampment. City was aware that they didn't have portable toilets, for example, or garbage pickup. So this could lead to the crisis like contamination of local water bodies or soil in that particular park. So were there any discussion with that you are? I know, I understand you are councillor for Ward 1. You are, and I appreciate you're talking to us today. So just trying to understand, were you aware that the environmental services in Barrie, or the particularly for the city of Barrie, because I believe they are the responsible for the parks cleanliness and other services. So were they aware, and were there any discussion about how to keep this clean, if they can't go in? Because this could be, as we see, there's now encampment outside Busby Center and other parts, because people from that was maybe the one of the biggest, moved to other encampments. So you know there could be the similar issues at other parks. So were there any concern, issues taken, discussion with cities different services about cleanliness?
Well, let's first of all, I mean, I think from the city's perspective, we don't want any encampments. We, it's just not desirable. Anyone that needs to or wishes to live outdoors, I mean, I think we need to find them a roof over their head. That's the dignified, and I mean, they're people, right? I mean, they deserve that. So that is our priority, and we encourage the county, because it should be the county's priority. That's that's our view. We would, in a perfect world, there would be no encampments anywhere, right? I mean, that's the goal. Yeah, I mean, let's see how we can move forward that way. That's really where we need to go. Yeah, I mean, when you look at encampments, no matter where they are, they tend to be contaminated, right, with all kinds of debris and needles and who knows what all. And that's not a good way to live either, right? So, but again, the city has a limited role in all of that. Now, once the encampment is gone, then yeah, the city can take whatever action it needs to take in order to get rid of the contamination.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Just in terms of, so now the CEO Prowse acknowledged that the cost of cleaning the encampment, it will run into millions, and then we could be pretty much seeing this could happen. This could in a sense that the contamination could happen at other parks as well. So has there been any discussion? You are aware that maybe now city should proactively go and offer those, I understand your point of view that city doesn't want the encampment. That's not a dignified way of living, but here we are. There are so many encampments because people don't have places to live, and they have to live somewhere. So so we know that there are more encampments in Barrie, and this contamination can happen at other places. And then if city acts after the issue goes out of hand, if there is contamination in soil, water, bodies, so they could cost again could run into million. And if they offer the services of trash pickup or portable toilet, that could save that millions of dollars in cost. So has that come up in any of the meetings that you are aware, and then is city planning to do anything about it?
No, I don't. That has not really been broached. And if it were to happen, it would be a county role as part of their social services. It wouldn't be the city that would do that.
So even the cleaning, the like providing the trash pickup, or porter potty, that also comes under county, or?
Yeah, and don't forget. I mean, most of these encampments are hidden away, so it's not like we can drive a truck there and bring a trash container, right? So that's not a problem. I mean, I can sense that might be something to offer, but um, when it comes right down to it, I'm not sure that it's all that practical to be able to do that.
So just in terms of the response, so are you aware that we have so many encampments, people living in tents, various places, outside Busby Center, for example. Are you aware that what are concrete steps have been taken to provide these people shelter or alternate living arrangements, especially now the winter is coming?
Yeah, sure. And the winter is coming. Yeah, I mean, the county, again, this is a county program, but the county has expanded its motel program. It has expanded its, assistance to people, finding them places to live. They've opened the old police station. They've opened the old ambulance station on Tiffin. Um, they've been successful to get the Heart Hub operating. So, all of those things. But yeah, Deepak, this problem goes back a long ways, right? I mean, I don't know whether you remember, but in the early 1990s, the federal government and the provincial government had a program that built places that were rent geared to income. So, even the very poorest people could get a roof over their head in that program. And then in 1990, the federal government that was a liberal government, and in Ontario a conservative government. So everybody gets to wear it. They got out of that program. So you don't notice a big problem a year later, but 35 years later, here's our problem, right? We don't have places for people with, addictions, low income, all those kind of things. And so, if the city of Barrie had, say, 200 or 2,000 rent geared to income units, we wouldn't have anywhere near the problem that we have. And that is really where the problem comes from. And listen, addictions and homelessness and all those kind of things, those are very complex matters to address. But one of the most important pieces of that, in terms of addressing it, is housing of some sort. And everyone, and I include the city and the county, but everybody has failed in that. And so, homelessness, in my view, is a policy failure. And we all share in that responsibility. And so I think we really have to start building rent geared to income, and we have to do that quickly. It'll be a long time to catch up, right?
Yes. So just in terms of, are you aware that what are the discussions with the county in terms of building more affordable housing or supportive housing, and are there any construction
Yeah.
building going on?
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, the county is definitely looking at that, right? I mean, they're building something like 200 units on Rose Street. That's has started construction. Um, and, in Bradford and in Aurelia, they've done buildings. So, yeah, they are working on it. And we have some others as well. Um, but yeah, it's you know when you're that many units short, it takes a while to catch up, right? And yeah, and it takes not only it takes a while, but it takes money to build, right? So
Yeah, so just how do you see this situation unfolding? Because two hundred units, I don't think are going to be enough. Seeing how many people are struggling with housing and homelessness in Barrie. So how do you think now city has closed this encampment, right? It's people from there move to another places. So how do you see this encampments growing, coming up at different places? How do you see this situation going back to normal? How do you see these people going back into places? Otherwise they will be there, and then encampments might grow, and we you know God forbid, but we might see incidents like this more in Barrie. So how do you see, like, is there an emergency plan to house these people that living in encampment, so situations like these don't happen again?
yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, you and I and everyone in the city don't want to see this kind of situation happen again. So and the county is doing, I think, some credible work, but as I said, it's going to take some time. And so the county is working on a shelter facility at Tiffin, which will house something like 50 people or so. um, There's one at Blake Street at Coates, the former Coates building. I think it's got a capacity of 30 or something like that. Just how that building is going to be used is still up in the air a little bit. So, we have a lot of I think there are a lot of irons in the fire to try to find places. I know that, or at least the numbers that I heard, that of the people that were in this encampment, something like 20 or 30 have been placed in suitable places. So, I mean, it's not all of them, but it's we're moving in the right direction, right? And I'm hopeful that we will be able to keep doing that.
Yeah, so but from what I talked to, different people, we have visited so many encampments in the last few days in Barrie, and talked to various people. So what the sense I get is, as you said, it's going to take some time, and these things take time. But the general sense is the situation, if a drastic step is not taken, the situation will only get worse from here, especially as we are approaching the winter. And in terms of ward 1, your ward, are you aware about any encampments in ward 1, and are there any discussions about how to provide different services to them?
Right. Yeah. I mean, Ward 1 sees some of this because we're right next to the downtown. And for sure, yes, we don't have large encampments like this past one, but we have places where people are living rough, one or two or three or four together, right? Um, and that, the county can deal with. It's much different having, two or three people than it is having 100, right? So that, yeah, the county works with our staff and with others to resolve those. But yeah, for sure, Ward 1 sees its share. Yeah.
So just in terms of a lot of this matter, last couple of questions. A lot of these matters are coming up in the executive committee meeting, and as I talking to people, not everybody is in the executive committee meeting, right? On this, I believe you are not in the executive committee. So how does that impact the decision making if important matters are discussed in the executive committee, but not all the councillors are included in the executive committee?
Well, at our meetings, all the councillors are welcome, and all the councillors are welcome to speak. So I think that and of course, not everybody can attend every meeting. I mean, you'd have to be twins to do that. So, but yeah, I think councillors' voices are heard around the table for sure.
So just like, do you think, this matter should, discussed, because not everyone can vote in the executive committee meeting. So do you believe this, matter should be discussed in city council general committee meeting where everybody has a vote and, so their voice can be heard? Because as you said, these problems are in all the wards in the city.
Yeah, it's across this whole city. I mean, it's across the whole province, the whole country for that matter. But yeah, I mean, I think we have good discussions around the council table about this, and yeah, we're always wrestling for solutions. And frankly, if there was an easy solution, we'd have found it long ago, right? This is not an easy problem.
Yeah, so just like you very clearly said, and this is what I heard from other people also. This is county, province, and federal government all need to work together to build a lot more housing than we have. And even the prime minister acknowledged that Canada used to build housing a long time back. That's what they should start doing. So what are your expectations from the city, county, province, and the federal government in terms of how many units you think should be built in Barrie in next, let's say, couple of years or 3-4 years?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I don't have a really good answer for you. But let me say this. In 1990, when the province and the federal government got out of the business, we had something like 900 rent geared to units, geared to income units in Barrie. Now, the city is about 3 times as big as it was in 1990. So do the math. We need something like 3,000 units. Now that's, you don't just build those overnight, and you certainly need a lot of money to do that. And Barrie's not the only city. So, it will take serious commitment from the upper levels of government to fund this kind of solution. But I don't think we have any choice. I think that we really have to deal with this homeless problem because it damages people's lives, and they they deserve better, and we have to provide that in some fashion or other, because the private market does not provide it. So
okay, that's good. Thank you so much, Councillor Clare Riepma, for your time. I really appreciate you talking to us about the issue and what solutions you think should be offered in this.
all right, well, you're very welcome. I enjoyed it.